Hi, and welcome to another episode of Sustainment TV. I'm your host, David McDonald, and before we get into today's video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It will help the channel grow and improve upon what I do. But without further delay, let's get right into today's video. Today's video presentation features an interview that I was able to have with a leading professional in women's basketball. She has had success at all levels as a player and a coach. I hope you enjoyed today's video presentation with Eastern Kentucky University head women's basketball coach, Samantha Williams. Hope you enjoy. All right, Sustainment TV, as promised, we have on the line the head coach of the women's basketball program at Eastern Kentucky University, Samantha Williams. How you doing today?
I'm doing fine, David. How are you?
Hey, doing well.
Okay.
Good to see you.
You too.
I tell you, this has been a crazy year, and November is just starting, right?
It's been quite a year, when things continue to happen and you just shake your head and you just say, well, that goes along with 2020.
Yeah. Absolutely. Glad you took the time to join us. Just wanted to get your thoughts on a few things, see what's going on with you and with the program and whatnot. Now you've played and or coached pretty much at every level. I mean, middle school, high school, college, pro. You've been at D2 programs, D1 programs. I mean, what's your personal philosophy on coaching?
Well, for me, coaching is about building and nurturing relationships, whether it be with my players, with my staff, with the community, with the administration. And then I try to surround myself with not only talented players, but with good people and people with high character. In this profession, in this business, we spend a lot of time together. And so I just want to be surrounded with good people. Obviously talented, because the name of the game is to win. Right. But and I just try to surround myself with good people.
All right. As far as you personally, how has being a coach, how has coaching affected or changed your life?
That I take very seriously the responsibility of coaching and the impact that it can have on young women's lives. And so, I try to instill, the right kind of habits. I want my players to be better people by the time they leave Eastern Kentucky University. And that's what I've done. I've tried to do my whole career. Is just, like I said, I take it very seriously, the impact that you can have. You can change lives in this profession. And so for me, I just take it very seriously. And I try to, every day just come in and try to be better, but also just understand the impact that you can have and how to be a positive role model for young women.
I mean, that pretty much definitely leads into the next question. You mentioned being better, being a positive role model. I mean, what do you try to teach or instill in your players other than the principles of good basketball? What do you try to do for them?
Again, the characteristics of being a good person, but also having them understand the type of discipline that they have to have. I try to recruit players that are high achievers, who have goals for themselves. And so, I try to just instill and show them what kind of work habits that they have to have. And then also I try to prepare them for real life. There's a lot of things in this life that, that are not fair. And, how you bounce back from adversity. I try to, have them be prepared for that. Because these 4 years, it goes pretty quickly. And those 4 years could also be a foundation to help them, after they leave Eastern Kentucky for their lives.
Gotcha. I wanted to throw this question in. Maybe you're able to shed some light on it. I know that you finished a couple years before me in school. For those of you who don't know, we're family. But it's like taking my I have two children that one did soccer in college and one's doing track, and it's like the recruiting process. When I was coming through school versus when they came through school, it's so much different. I mean, you have kids that have like their own highlight reels on online and whatnot. You have these sites that kind of people can market themselves with various schools and whatnot. Is there any specific advice that you're able to give parents that may be trying to get their children I guess kind of out there for exposure, or any light on that at all?
Well, that's a great question because of the situation that we're in right now, and not as a Division I coach, we're not allowed to go and recruit.
Right.
We haven't been able to go recruit since March.
Wow.
And
yeah.
It doesn't look like we're going to be able to go out at all until at least next March or April.
Okay.
So we rely heavily on video and being able to go to websites. And there also are evaluators that go to tournaments right now, not just basketball, it could be whatever sport, and they will get that kid exposed. So I would say just try to, if a coach doesn't respond, just keep trying, because we get so many film. We get a lot of emails. I would email if you had interest in a school, and if they don't respond, just keep at it. I would just say keep at it, because you just have to be persistent.
Yeah.
I think, especially right now, because it's tough. I think there are a lot of kids that are falling through the cracks right now because coaches are not able to go out and see them play personally.
Yeah.
But my advice is just as much film as you can and send it out to the schools of interest.
Yeah.
Be realistic about your level. And then, like I said, just be persistent.
Yeah, that's definitely the key, like you said, because I know, you could send an email off and not hear anything for 3 weeks. You almost forget about it by the time you get a response.
Right.
That's definitely good advice. Yeah.
Right.
How do you motivate your team to give their best efforts to play well? Is there any specific approach you have to motivating them?
Well, again, that goes back to myself and my staff. We try to recruit the type of players that are self-motivated. But having said that, they are 18 to 22-year-olds.
Right.
And there are those moments when they have to be extrinsically motivated. So, and that goes back to building the type of relationships with the kids that you can even have a connection with them to motivate them, because kids just don't care. They won't work hard for you, I found, unless they know you care about them. You can push them a little bit harder. You can, you can get on them a little bit more. They have to know you care. And so for me, first and foremost, I try to build a strong relationship with each one of my players.
Right.
And because it's important for me to get to know them individually, because they're all not the same. And so motivating them is going to be different for each kid. So it depends. Some kids, you have to put your arm around them and just kind of, fluff them up a little bit. And then some where, they won't get into it unless you yell at them. They like to be yelled, a little bit. So it just varies with each kid.
Okay, so in addition to winning the championship, obviously, I know that you've mentioned some, definitely some end goals that you guys would like to, achieve overall. As far as like when you do your initial intake or your first meetings of the year, do you state those specifically, or are they more implied, or do you just say, hey, in addition to being competitive and qualify for the tournament and all that, is there anything that you kind of put before them as a goal?
Well, first and foremost, it's important that they take school seriously. And if all I do is teach them basketball in their 4 years, and I've failed them. So, my first goal is to make sure that they get a quality education and that they get their degree. And then second of all, we do discuss goals. Our goal every year is to be in contention for conference championship, because that will put us in a position of going to the NCAA tournament. When I took over this program, we were pretty much rock bottom. And Eastern Kentucky University back in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, was a team that was going and competing championships. And so I've had to, obviously recruit the type of talent that can compete for a championship, but also just bring in a winning mentality, because, after you've been losing for a while, you just kind of have that loser mentality.
Yeah.
And I came in, and my staff, we came in and we expect to win. And that's what I tell them every year. I expect to win, and I hope to rub off on them and not just settle for mediocrity.
Yeah. Gotcha. Now you came in terms of your college years, did you ever have a chance to meet Pat Summitt?
Yeah, I actually was Pat. She recruited me when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
And recruited me most of my high school career. And I took an official visit actually to Tennessee, and it was one of my final choices. Just some things happened with my knee injury that kind of put me on a different path, but definitely a big influence for me and somebody I looked up to in high school. And because back then women's basketball was only on TV during Easter.
Right, they would only, that's right.
Pretty much, they would only show the Final Four, and I just remember watching University of Tennessee and thinking, man, I would love the opportunity to play for Pat Summitt.
Yeah, yeah, she was definitely a special coach.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, if you could go back, I guess, in terms of high school, can you name one specific moment or event that changed your life in a positive way that definitely gave you the compass into, the path that you've chosen? I mean, is there one specific event you can name?
I would say in high school, I think what put me on my path to where I am now is I had a middle school coach that really took me under her wing. Her name was Judy Simpson. And I didn't play basketball my 6th grade year because I had really bad grades. And, I remember playing in middle school, and they would play an open gym. And this coach, she said, why aren't you playing basketball? And I said, well, my mom won't let me play because of my grades.
Yeah.
And so she just took me under her wing and really put me on the right path to an understanding that school comes first. Stop hanging around, the wrong crowd. And I really started seeing basketball as an opportunity and something that could lead to bigger and better things for me. See, I would say she definitely had a huge influence.
Yeah.
Huge influence on where I am today.
As we previously discussed, you guys are definitely competing this upcoming season. If you had to name, I guess, your 3 biggest games on the schedule,
Mhm.
What are your three? I mean, obviously you want to have them
Sure.
wound up and ready for all of them. But if you had to name two or three of your biggest games on your schedule, what would you say?
Well, I guess, our rival is Morehead State, which is
Okay.
an in-state school.
Okay.
But the two toughest teams, well, our league is actually pretty tough this year, but the perennial teams that have been really good are Belmont in Tennessee, Southeast Missouri State, who actually won our league, and also Tennessee Martin. So those are the teams, in my opinion, that will be at the top of our league. And we play those teams twice. So, it's going to be important that we first handle our business at home, but then try to steal a game here and there on the road as well.
In reference to basketball, I mean, so when it's all said and done, what would you like to be remembered for in reference to your body of work as far as basketball is concerned?
Well, any coach, obviously, we're judged a lot on our wins. And I've been very, very blessed to have been a part of some very special programs, both as a player and as a coach. I've been to a national championship game. I've been to 2 Final Fours. I've worked for multiple coaches that are in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame and that will be in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. But I would also, but those wins to me are great. But I would also like to be remembered as someone who tried to help people and someone who could empathize with anyone and walk in their shoes and understand where they were coming from. Because I think that, just in today's society, I think there's just a lack of empathy across our country right now. And so I just want to be remembered as a good person with a. Also, I would love to be remembered as a winner in whatever they decide to do, and whatever I put my mind to. I'd like to be considered a winner.
All right, Coach. You have the final word. What are your final thoughts, just in general?
Well, what are we talking about? Life? We're talking about basketball. We're talking about.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just want. One thing this year has taught me, and have put things in perspective, is sports are great. But at the same time, there was a moment in time when there were no sports. And I really think that we've got to somehow, I'm getting deep on you here, David, but we've got to do a better job of listening to one another and understanding where everyone is coming from. I think you can have differences of opinions, different beliefs of how you want to live your life, but I think that we stop listening to one another, and we stop caring how the other side thinks. We stop caring about what other people are going through, and it's not blue or red. We're all Americans. And we're gonna rise and we're gonna fall together, whether we see it now or not. I liken us to Rome at times. We're this great country, and you just see this. I don't know. We're burning right now, and I just really want us to somehow sit down at the table together and unite a whole lot better than what we're doing right now. We've got to come together.
Yeah,
so
that's those are good words. Like I was telling you earlier about my voting experience the other day. It took a long time, but ultimately, regardless of what happens, I know the one thing that definitely can be said about this election,
Mhm.
it's going to be responsible for the largest voter turnout in probably a couple decades. It's record early voter turnout. We'll see what
Right.
the final see what the final numbers look like.
Right.
But that's
Right.
awesome. I appreciate your time. I definitely have to get out there to get a tour of the facilities. I know that I know some of that may be a little subdued right
Oh,
now
no,
with what.
it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. You'll be fine. Just wear your mask.
All right. All right. See, she said it. All right, Sustainment TV. Y'all heard it. She said it. So good stuff. Good stuff, Coach. I appreciate your time. We will definitely be we'll be checking out your progress and whatnot this season. What's the date of the first game?
November 25th, we play at home against Bellarmine.
Okay. 25th. That's
Wednesday, right before Thanksgiving.
okay.
hmm
It's this month, right? This November just started. Okay.
24 days.
Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Thanks again, Coach Williams. We appreciate you. We'll definitely be looking out and checking out all the progress of you and your program. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. If you would like to learn more about Eastern Kentucky University's women's basketball program, their link is posted on your screen at this time. Be sure to turn on those notifications, that way you won't miss any of our newer releases, and feel free to check out some of our other videos on the channel. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.